And last but not least, let's talk about Pinocchio.
Oof, yeah, he's a
Well, Ricardo, if you don't mind, I want you to do the synopsis for this, right? But let me just do a little preamble, right? So, shocking fact. just this. I guess this is a theme of this particular episode here. I've never seen the original Pinocchio.
which original? The original, the Disney movie.
The Disney one. The Disney
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can understand you missing this because that one was an old one, and I know a lot of people just didn't see it.
Yeah.
I saw it by pure accident. Which I remember, I think I had a summer vacation with my family, and they had a VHS, and that ended up showing. That's the only reason I saw it. But it was an old movie, and I forget how old it was.
Yeah, it's like I think it's 1940 or I think it's in the early 40s. I was sick, right?
Yeah, it's one of the earlier
So
ones.
yeah, so like I'll try example. Like when there was that Dumbo remake that everybody asked for.
Right.
I actually rewatched. I actually watched Dumbo, the old Dumbo movie for the first time. Right, liked it for what it was. Right, the Dumbo remake was but it was just forgettable. Right, but yeah, that's how it is with me when it comes to Disney animated films of like the 40s up to say the 80s. Right, if there is a remake coming out, I will actually I will actually watch the original film and then kind of compare it. Right, so. Still to this day, I still think that Jungle Book, the Jungle Book, the 2016 film, is the best of these Disney remakes, right? Because it took the original film, which was fine for what it was, and it just updated it in all these smart, clever ways. It really did feel like a legit adventure film. The visual effects so stunning, right? But just the story and how they updated that was brilliant in my opinion, right? Now, when it comes to when it came to like stuff like the Lion King, right? I have to compare this show here, Pinocchio, to the Lion King, right? This is where it's like, well, a beloved film that we are going to breathe new life into, right? But the problem with that show, unfortunately for me though, is just it was just nostalgia done in the worst ways. It was like a literal frame by frame, beat for beat remake of the film. It didn't really do anything much to update the story or the formula.
Where you talking about?
Lion King.
Lion King, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it just add Beyonce to it, and Beyonce was literally doing cartwheels over poor Donald Glover, and that show from singing to acting to everything. You know what I mean? And it just did nothing, Dread. And you could say, but look at the visuals, look at how photorealistic it all looks, right?
It's terrible.
It's like, well, but visuals are great, but it's the same movie that we loved back in '94, which y'all should have just left as is. But yeah, but Ricardo, take it away. Your history with these remakes, and you could jump into the show here.
Yeah, no, the live act, right. So I think the first big one was like Cinderella, and I don't remember hating that one. Like I was like,
I still never watched that today. I heard that was decent though.
It was half okay. It was like okay, I could live with it kind of thing. But then they did Jungle Book, and I was like, all right, if it's all going to be like this, then I don't really mind. And if it was right after Jungle Book, then I thought it was just like a colossal waste of time and terrible. Beauty and the Beast, I think, right?
Okay, well, you hate it. I defended these things about it. I like that they try to stay faithful to source material. There was even a blink in the missing moment where they pay tribute to the French film, the French live action film, a great film which you should check out, right? But still, in terms of it being what it is, it's still like, but the '91 movie still exists and it great, and it was nominated for Best Picture. So like that's what always boils down to. What's the point of remaking them if you're not gonna do anything different, right? You can't tell me, well, we're gonna have our first openly gay character in this, but like what implied in the background, that's really what it was, whatever. But yeah, go on.
No, right. So I remember not liking that, and then well, okay, so even though it's a real problematic movie, it's probably my favorite of the Disney movies, which was Aladdin. So I was like, all right, they're gonna do Aladdin.
Oh, they're gonna still haven't seen Aladdin, but I heard. I even though I haven't seen it, I will give credit for them. They actually try new things. They actually do something different.
Right. Well, right. So, but my only problem with that film is that they didn't go far enough. I was pretty underwhelmed with it in the conceit now. But they made some interesting choices on calls now. So I wasn't mad at any of it in that sense now. Like, all right, we could go with that, like make it work, but still half-assed. And so I was worried, like, oh, this is it all gonna be this. And then Lion King came, and I was like, nah, boy, Lion King did not work at all for me, dude. Like, it was just wrong approach for what they do. It makes it. So this fella, I don't follow his material all the time. I haven't watched this, but he doing this big breakdown of the Lion King. What do you call him?
Oh, YMS, yeah.
Right, Adam, right.
To the point, I swear this man obsessed over Lion King, but he's just dropping all these YouTube shorts about his reactions to people's like comments, like behind the scene interviews and shit about the movie. He'll make fun of those. Like that show really rubbed him off the wrong way, but
yeah. You know? So I haven't watched it. I'm not gonna sit down and watch it most likely. I don't have time for that shit.
That's 3 hours long, bro.
No, the thing is, it not. Here's the thing. Sorry to say, but like Adam is not a funny dude, really. He funny in the caustic funny way. Like, you know, there are a lot of people who funny because they just say something caustic. Like, he's not really that funny now. So like I'm not gonna take the time to watch that shit. Like, you know, sorry, it in the same vein as a Mauler, if you know who that is, right? It's that kind of person. Like I might agree with what you had to say, but this too boring for me to care. Like, it's not like with somebody like Movie Bob who actually like give me something engaging to watch. But this is like, I'm not engaged at all. However, he did make a point though. So there is a like the planet Earth thing. I really felt they should have done the planet Earth thing with Lion King. That would have been much more interesting, you know.
I know you talk about. Like there was this one clip, I think this is one you mentioned before, where it's this lion being ganged up by these hyenas, right?
Yeah.
Great clip, right? And then one of his brethren basically had to come and save him, right? That was amazing actually. And I remember, I think you said this for the review when we talked about it back then, that they could have used that sort of full documentary approach to it.
Exactly. That's what I was about to get to. Is that if they actually did something interesting with it, but they decided to tell the same fucking story, and I'm like, you can't be serious, right? I don't look. You're still doing Hamlet, you know. That's fine, you know, but you're framing it better now as a you're doing it again the verity approach. And that Lion King just was I was done with Lion King. I couldn't get into it. I know any one of these that come after most likely going to be trash. And then Dumbo came, and I was like, wait, I'll waste my time. So I watched Dumbo only when it came on Disney Plus. Didn't go to theaters to see it, and also hated it. So I was like, yeah, this is another like, again, you're just wasting everybody's time with these Disney what going on. To Disney's credit, they actually had the wherewithal to not put this in theaters. Fine. I like, all right, good. This new one is Pinocchio is Dumbo all over again for me, where you got a director who we kind of like, not really, but he real kind of shit in the bed nowadays. Because look, I like Robert Zemeckis, but I realize I only like 80s and 90s Robert Zemeckis, right? I don't know what after the 2000s. I don't know which Robert Zemeckis in the 2000s I ever liked, because I watched back this movie the other day and I loved it. Contact, right? I think he did that, right? Didn't he direct that?
He did, yeah, back in 97. Yeah. Great movie.
I was like, I enjoyed this. Like, yeah, Robert Zemeckis is a talented guy, but like, holy shit, dude. I don't know what happened in the 2000s. I can't think of anything that in after 2000 I like from him, though. And I don't know why. Like, I don't know if it's just he just not adapting to the times, or he just experimenting in all the wrong ways. But
I think it's the former. He just can't adapt. Like, he wants to be, you know, I don't want to compare him to Steven Spielberg, right?
Right.
He wants to fit within that. Remember the 80s and 90s where, you know, big budget movies were like so spectacular and groundbreaking. Like, that's what he wants to do. He wants to just make groundbreaking shit, but just like, all right, but why? Like, what was the point? Like, what are you doing?
My last thing with him that was like, I thought was like his death knell in a sense, right? And I know it's unfair to argue like this, but the last thing he did was when he did The Walk, right? And I was like,
that was one of the first shows we talked about. Yes. You talked about
this was in 9/11. Like, okay, well, it's September 12th, right? So 9/11, right? We had to talk about 9/11, right? And okay, but yeah, he does a big homage to 9/11. And I was like, the walk could have been good, but it didn't work at all. It could have been good, but it just did not work. And
but remember the sell of it? Oh, but if you see it in 3D,
if
you're walking with him.
Which I did. And it's like, yeah, but it still didn't work at all, Judd. All right. I know just scanning through his career. Yeah, the last thing he did that was kind of okay was he did 13 Ghosts. No, well, let me see. As director, he did Flight. That was okay. Right?
Yeah, I like Flight.
Flight was all right. Yeah. That wasn't so bad. Yeah, so that's about it. So it's like, all right, so since Flight now, you really do nothing that have a rope. And look, it's Robert Zemeckis. He's a giant in the industry. I can't take away from that. I cannot take away from that. But, bro, what going on, Jared? Like, it's just these really poor choices. None of it working he just not doing it for me. And this Pinocchio was pretty much Dumbo all over again. It's the same, like, you're just updating it in all the worst ways. You get who directed that Dumbo movie, right?
That is a good question. Let me just look it up quick.
Right, Tim Burton, right? Yeah.
Wait. Yes, Tim Burton did.
Right. Yeah, you have a person who's a giant in the industry, but they just on these projects just not working at all, and they just can't manage them in the worst ways. Tim Burton's another person like that, right? Where you like what they did when they was hot, they was hot. You didn't say no. Giants of the industry. You're not gonna take away from that. The history is history. But sometimes, they pass the point of diminishing returns and you're wondering what's going on now. This was this all over again. This was Dumbo all over again. I kind of hated it.
Well, you know what? Well, we know. I mean, for those who probably just still want to know what it's about, you mind just giving them a little 2 sentences as to what it's about.
Yeah, it's pretty much Pinocchio. So you have this guy Geppetto, played by Tom Hanks, who is horribly miscasted in this. I am shocked.
Boy.
I was shocked.
You could slap as much makeup on him to make him look like Geppetto, but my God, he could. It's like this is beyond him right now. Like I understand. I know we little meandering here, right? I understand he is the likable old man now, right? We all like Tom Hanks because he's so endearing. But oh gosh, man, like don't typecast him like this now, please.
Here's the thing with Tom Hanks, right? I actually appreciate him doing the smaller stuff. He did the little sci-fi with the dog the other day.
Which was great, yeah. But it still touch on the old man.
Right. No, but that still fit him now. Like it still fit, and it's a small project that he didn't need to do. He did this. That was on Apple TV. Small little projects. He did the thing where he was
Greyhound.
Right.
Yeah.
Love that. Like I thought that was actually pretty good. Again, that fit him. It's not a big project. It is there. You do it. But this, I don't know. He doesn't fit at all with him. It just felt like a total stereotype of Tom Hanks. Like.
That's what I'm saying. Typecast. It's typecast.
It was terrible.
Absolutely terrible. But back to Geppetto and.
So Geppetto, you make a doll. The doll come to life because of reasons, and it had to prove itself, as a real boy because the fairy came in, and then I forget was the actor's name by who was in Inception, who was playing Jiminy Cricket.
They got Joseph Gordon-Levitt. When I saw that name as he playing Jiminy, I was like, what?
Yeah, and he was okay voice acting because I didn't recognize him at all, to be honest.
No, I didn't either.
And I was like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was in the same The Walk movie now. So like, okay, all right, he did. That's it. And it just goes to Pinocchio, the same story as Pinocchio. He go to the thing, he meet the fox and the guy. That was Keegan-Michael Key, I think.
Yeah, again, I didn't even know it was him until I saw the players.
It sounded like him. I was like, this song like some black actor. No, and like, okay, I took it up. Like, yes, it's he. Then he go through the whole thing, the show. They didn't change him much in that sense. He go to the island, turn to the donkey, and this just feel like a crappy sanitized version of the old cartoon, right? Look, I don't know big super fan of the cartoon. I like the cartoon. I watch it a couple times. That was about it. But they just leave it for it is, and then they had the cat not be different. They just make slight differences, and then they move on. It's the same Pinocchio, and then they go in the whale, and they had to rescue him, and then they change up a couple things, and then they have the fairy. I'm surprised more people didn't complain about this, but the fairy in this one, the blue fairy, black in this one, is a black actress they get. I don't know who she is. I forget where she's from.
That's Cynthia Erivo from Harriet. It's her.
From where?
From Harriet. It's her.
Oh, right, same Harriet, right. right. So it's who? She was in Widows, right?
I don't think so.
It's not the same.
I could be wrong.
Not the same one in Widows who was running. Like that was she's superpowered Widows, effectively. Yeah, it's her from Widows. Yeah, Cindy Every, right?
Yeah. She was in. Okay, I didn't know that she was in Widows. Okay.
Yeah, wow. So it's her from Widows. Yeah. I just remember. That's the one thing I remember about her in Widows is that she didn't do anything. She could run fast, and she just had a jacked ass body. So that was it. But whatever. Yeah. No. So it's everybody just doing the thing. It's just the same story, and it just totally dry and empty. And I see this is exactly what people talking about when they hating on Disney, you know. Like, yes, you're doing diversity, great, but it's like empty nonsense. And you had to put some talent behind it now. And it's just the most half-assed project. This thing was just everybody felt asleep. Everybody felt like they're sleepwalking through the whole thing, right? None of it had no energy to it. I thought it was like, I listen, it's a good thing it was earlier in the day and I actually drank some coffee. Guy would have fallen asleep watching this shit. Right, it was so boring and slow.
Dog, I watched this yesterday after eating lunch, and I was fighting I was catching itis watching this.
Yeah, right? the double up. Yeah, itis and this as a combo, all you're done. Yeah, you better as well get chloroform from behind, right? Like, no, I mean, this was pretty bad. Pacing was terrible. It was just slow and clumsy. Everything, the voice acting, because the voice acting was so weird. Here's one of the greatest crimes of this. Unnecessary 3D animation within a realistic space. So like they have like an animated thing inside a space. So it's some real Beowulf Uncanny Valley bullshit going down now. And it's like, dude, you don't need to do this though. Just why? Here's another thing that's bothering me, right? So like, okay, when Star Wars do the 3D face thing, right? I kind of get why they're doing it so much and they're making it so blatant, because clearly they tested the limits of the technology, right? That's what they're doing. They're saying, look, we had to go, you see with this kind of stuff, you had to go brave or go home, test the limits of the technology. Even if it looked bad, at least it's looking a little better. So, they put CGI look and they have little zombie eyes, or they have Leia or Grand Moff Tarkin or one of them, right? But you get why they're doing it, right? They're not doing it for the art, they're doing it for testing the technology, right? And that's why they're doing these close-up shots. They're trying to do these close-up shots and highlighting, because that's the test. They're not trying to hide the mistakes or run around. They don't put it in the dark or anything like that. The product is not the end game for them. The end game is to get this technology to look next to perfect, right? With this now, none of it feels experimental or interesting, because they're not doing anything interesting. It's like, yeah, this is technology from 10 years ago. You just half-assing it. That is all it's coming across like. And that is what's so frustrating about it. It's like totally unnecessary CG shot. Like, Robert Zemeckis, bro, like, you could make a better choice on this. Again, I'm some bullshit on the internet. I'm a nobody. You don't want to listen to nobody like me, right? But still, though, like, what the hell going on, Judd? This was across the board. It was terrible. Dialogue was terrible. Voice acting was fine, because I suppose it was okay because I didn't know like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Like, they had to tell me that. So, like, all right, he's like a solid voice actor. But again, it still does that bullshit thing of giving an actor where they could get an actual voice actor for the role. Whatever. It's normal Hollywood thing. This was a frustrating, outright thing for me. It didn't work. I couldn't get into any of it. It's just a way inferior version to the original, because again, it doesn't change that much from the original. But so was nice about it. Moving on. Where am I telling you? None of it works. None of it works. I don't know what to add to it. Like, it have nothing to comment on, because it's just the same story. It's the exact same story. They didn't really do anything with it. They didn't twist it up. At least with Aladdin, they do something with it, and they change up how the genies work and how the mechanisms of this is work. Lion King was is like a bad mix of Lion King and a bad mix of Dumbo. Like, I off the top of my head, I can't remember what exactly they changed. Like, if they changed something, it's like a minor thing that that is an interesting change maybe, but I didn't notice any of it. I don't know. It doesn't work for me at all, Judd.
All right, so there's one scene, right? Whilst trying to keep my eyes open through the show, while I was suffering through it, right? There was one particular scene, right, that for me summed up the entirety of my experience, right? So this is not going to be a spoiler, guys, because if you're familiar with the story, you should know what I'm talking about, right? So this is right after the escape the wheel, right? The stomach of the wheel, right? Or mouth, if you want to call it, right? Let me just say for now, stomach of the wheel, right? And Pinocchio himself, right, is trying to find Geppetto, because Geppetto is on a boat on his own. Could he go into the island to look for thing, right? Oh, sorry, this is before they get swallowed. My mistake, right? And it is this seagull, right? Sophie, and they actually get poor Lorraine Bracco dread. Lorraine Bracco, Goodfellas, Sopranos, the voice she did. I'm like, why are you here? Why are you here? Yeah. Like, I love you, but why are you here, right? And of course, Jiminy Cricket there, right? So he more or less surfing on the ocean, right? And then he happens to run into Geppetto himself, right? And Geppetto is like, oh my God, it's Pinocchio, right? And Pinocchio goes on this 1 minute tangent talking about all the experiences he went through, right? And I'm just there sitting down watching this, right? I'm watching how the sea looking fake. I'm watching how everything looking fake. I'm watching how Pinocchio looking fake, right?
Yeah, God.
And it just keep cutting back to poor Tom Hanks just watching this fake character saying, "You would believe what I went through, and I went to here, and I did this, and then I went to this, and and the music in the background, boy. I mean, poor Alan Silvestri, right? The iconic Alan Silvestri, right? I mean, him and Robert worked for years, of course, right? From since Back to the Future days, right? Whatever.
Right.
And they're real trying to play the scene out like it's supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to make me smile because it's, oh my God, Pinocchio and Geppetto are back together. Father and son reunite. Yes. And it's so funny because he's like surfing, you know what I mean? Well, wherever it is on the water, and he's telling the story. And does he look so cute in the way how he's talking and he's saying all this stuff so fast? He's like a little child when they you know, they had the first day of school, and you see them after school and talking. And they watch this and like, fuck all this shit. Like, none of this. None of this work, boy. What is this shit? It is that sequence to me just embodies the entirety of the movie, right? So we touch about animation for a bit, boy. This was, like you say, you use uncanny valley, right? Now I would understand, right? Given the level of animation, I have to put level in quotes, right? If you want to, like, I would say, because, all right, so I understand Del Toro, Guillermo del Toro is doing an animated version, full animated version, right? I don't know if it was just something behind the scenes, like maybe somebody in Disney found out about it. But I think, in all fairness, this should have been street animated, right?
Right.
Reason being is because you have human actors, right?
Yeah.
In real sets, keep in mind, real sets.
Right, yeah.
But when it came to the actual, like, animated characters themselves,
not mixing at all.
Like it don't mix at all. It was just weird to look
terrible.
at. Yeah. Now I thought that they were going to go on the Jungle Book route or the Lion King route, where everything looks as real as possible. But the thing that kind of takes you out is when the animals themselves speak. Right. I thought it was going to go that route. But no, Pinocchio legit looks like a weird CG version of like how he looks in the 40s version and whatnot.
Right.
But it just does not match with everything else that you're seeing, right? And they could slap whatever lighting they can, and they do real lighting on these characters to sell the fact that they are real and they're in this world. But no, it looks fake, right? Seeing you with Jiminy Cricket, like every time I look at this thing, it's like, I should buy into this thing being real and being part of this world, but it just doesn't. And as you're talking about, you know, touching on 3D and touching about the potential and what they could do in future films, it's 2022, Tread. Having poor Jiminy Cricket jump up in the air, and it's almost like he's jumping towards the camera and he's going, whoa, and going back.
Yeah. That's another thing too. It's all this weird. It's
old. Stop it now. It's 2022 now.
No, it's all this weird, like these choices they make for like the characters moving around in sequences, and like, why are you doing all of this? Again, I know that's the problem. These things. Okay, so we had to get into this a different argument, and we'll talk about this when it's time to review She-Hulk. But the whole relationship they have with the CG actors, the CG creators, right? All of these CG engineers and people who had to work on this stuff, and the animators and whatnot. And these things just coming across like a weird make for work program now. Like, you need to put in the scene because, this is what the CG animators did. So you have to put it in. That's how it's coming across. Like, why is this in this? Like, it just...
Yeah, it just adds nothing. What we mean, guys, is like this emphasis on like elaborate camera movements. So we have to follow the characters through here and up here and all that kind of stuff because they want to show off what VFX that I've seen since the 90s. Like, what are you really trying to show me here in this, right?
No, here's a working comparison. And again, look, I don't think Spielberg, the man, that's our reason why the man is considered the king by many, right? Remember when they did Tintin?
Yes.
He Tintin. I happen to love that Tintin. I thought that Tintin.
I love it too. That was actually the first IMAX movie I ever saw. Like, I love that stuff.
Yeah, here's why it worked. Because they made all the scenes and shots were necessary. Necessary scenes and shots. It fit the conceit and the aesthetic well. And
remember that chase scene in particular in the centerpiece, that chase scene.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at how that was put together. That was excellent.
It's just smart calls now in terms of like how to direct animation. And it's just a simple comparison. Again, I don't think it might not be the fairest comparison, but like, just necessary things now. You could cut some stuff, And again, the feeling that this man either is a make for work program or them just decide to like not think this out in terms of like what you should be seeing on screen. And it's the worst. It's terrible. Or even something like oh gosh, this fellow when he did my boy Martin Scorsese, he did this movie.
Oh, Hugo, yeah.
Hugo, right. Well thought out.
I need to watch over that movie. That was great, actually.
Yeah, well thought out in terms of, well, it's very meta to it. I why it works so well. But just well thought out in terms of the decision making, what is where and who. And look, animation is you had to direct animation as much as you had to do things. You can't just half-ass and put anything there. It feel like they just copying stuff shot for shot and then they even try to make an effort on any of it. And it's a mess. It's a total mess.
Agreed. Yeah. But just a few things and then we'll move on, right? It's just just those creatures. I'm sorry, those animated characters themselves just don't fit. They just don't look. Don't look as real as it could be, right? Yeah. Because again, it's either you make a choice, either you just make it all live action, or or I mean, like if it's going for live action, then y'all have to go out your way to make it feel like it fits in this world, and nothing about it fit. Even right down to Fabiana's puppet doesn't even look like it fits. It looks like I'm just watching a CG creature or character. It's almost like you're just taking this CG creature and just slapping it onto live action. That's
who's your voice of Pinocchio in this?
They got Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. He's a child actor.
Okay.
That's all I know about him. But like, all right, so I would say in terms of voice acting is okay, right? I'm not gonna knock the actors fit, right? Tom Hanks, for what it is, he find it, but I just find he was just typecast, right? Because he just has that sort of fatherly voice, He's the type of person, apparently, like I guess to certain filmmakers, he's that type of person who could, say bedtime stories and whatnot, right? He just has that warm voice about him. So okay, let's have him here play Geppetto, right? Now, I'm not gonna knock him for his acting and whatnot, right? And I'm not saying I don't want to critique the story itself, right? But I'm sorry, like while I was watching him, he just came off more like a madman than anything else. Like he just came off like this madman who, like, it's like something like really bad happened to him. And I do hope that the Del Toro movie at least explores that, right? But he just came off too affectionate though. Like I know it's a weird criticism, right? Like, because like given what the story is about, right? Like, all right, you can understand why Geppetto is the way he is, right? But when you see him as Tom Hanks, he's a man who has put depth in this character and whatnot. But here it's just like, no, I'm just playing a one-dimensional character, figure, and that's it. So I'll throw this another example in terms of just how bad this film looks like overall, right? So there's a moment where this is right after he gets where Pinocchio gets kidnapped by Stromboli, right? There's the puppeteer and the run off, right? So he's out there in the rain, right? And he has, oh my God. So I don't know if this is the original Dread, but the man actually have the fish bowl with the fake ass looking fish inside there, right? Again, just CG characters not looking real, right? And he's like, Pinocchio! And they're selling this thing like I am supposed to feel concerned. I'm supposed to feel so sorry for this guy.
Yeah.
But I was just cracking up, Jack, because it looks so bad. And I felt so sorry for Tom. Because he just they just making him look embarrassing on screen. I'm sorry. Like I know he did what he was supposed to, but he just came off. They just make him look real embarrassing in this show. I'm sorry, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, like you, there's really not much to say about this, right? You know the story, even though I haven't seen the original film, but I knew the story beat for beat. Nothing really surprised me.
That's
that's saying something, right? But it's just the visuals that really took it out for me. But it's just
terrible.
That weird uncanny valley, and just in general, not really doing anything new or fresh or original with the story. Like it's the same story. So while I was watching this thing, I was just like, why? Like, why are we doing this, Dread? Why are we doing this? Like what's the point, right? And I'll just close with one last thing, Dread. So listen, right? I mean, we have criticisms about Disney, right? Now I understand. Now I kind of understand on people why the show exists because, fun fact, Disney, Disney is turning 100, right?
Yeah.
So, with the title card for Disney, right? It's the when you wish upon a star song, right? That's what you hear, right? But you'll go as far in the beginning of this movie, slight spoiler, to have Jiminy Cricket sing the last words of it.
Yeah,
so,
that was funny though.
which is fine. Which is fine, right? Which is fine. It's meta. It's meta, right? Here's the thing, right? I understand that it's about Disney and it's about the love of Disney and the characters and the stories that they told, these timeless stories, right?
Yeah.
And yes, Pinocchio is a timeless story, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it should be remade, but it's a timeless story, right? But Disney will go as far, right? In an almost blink and you miss it moment, right? But when I see it, it almost takes me out of the show, right? There's a moment involving Geppetto's clock thread. And the
right. Yeah. That a bunch of references. Yeah.
And nearly every single one is a reference to existing Disney movies. So you would see what does it say about? You would see stuff like oh gosh, you saw Woody. You saw Woody from Toy Story. You saw Roger Rabbit, right? Again, references, right?
Stuff like that.
People,
stuff like
I get it. I get it.
Stuff like that.
But to me, it was just like, dog, or they're just jerking on themselves off, like in a movie like this that's supposed to be celebrating one of their finest works, or they just had the gall to just jerk on themselves off like that. Like stop it now.
Here's the thing. Stuff like that don't bother me too much because like whoever, like I don't have to pay attention to it. They're not throwing it in my face. I have to notice it. Fine. And when because Pixar just do that shit all the time too. Like whoever. It's fine. That goddamn Pizza Planet truck just keep blasting all the time, right? You don't know to look for it. So that's why I didn't care. What I had a problem with is that if you had time to do that and didn't have time to like actually make like the good stuff, like what should be good, that would just bother me. Like you had time to do all of them Easter egg thing. That means you all your job is then. So that's you are a person that all your job is to just put Easter egg in something then. Instead of like making the story work and then you put the Easter eggs after. Like the reason why the Pixar Easter egg stuff is like it's an extra bullshit thing. But the story itself as it is works. Virtually all Pixar work now in that sense now. I don't know. This for me was that's my quick point.
Give it to one time.
This feeling like look, it's how I look at Disney is so big that you gotta look at it like the tide, right? There's ebbs and flows, there's come and go. But this is a ebb period, right? Is stuff that if you didn't like late 90s Disney. You see when they do Pocahontas and it started wane and they started struggle, that period where they just didn't know what to do and they didn't really transfer to 3D just yet so well, and the 2D stuff wasn't working. This is what it started to feel like, Joe. This is some, and again, it's a little bit of the Marvel stuff, even though the Marvel stuff might come back. But this is some late 90s Disney, Joe. Like, you see that period was a bad time for them, Joe. Like, I forget the guy who was in charge at that time who leave, Katzenberg, I think. It's a problem. I don't know why. It's a problem. This is an ebb period, because this did not work at all. They didn't need to do it. Listen, if they didn't need to do it and then they did it and they surprised me and give me something, all right, fine. The Aladdin was like the limit of that. But this, total mess. Rubbish. Rating. For me, it's like a closer 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10 if I were being charitable. But yeah, 3 out of 10. Closer to 4. It's a mess. It don't work at all.
No.
Yeah.
For me, it's like this, right? So call me a 38-year-old cynical asshole, Dread. But while I was watching this and trying to keep my eyes open because I decided to watch this after eating Sunday lunch, right? I couldn't help but ask myself, who is this for? Like really, who is this for? Is this for the baby boomers who showed us Gen Xers, the joy and beauty of Disney entertainment, so let's show you this movie from 1940 and you'll fall in love with it instantly, right? But you give it to us in 2022 when Gen Zers are more or less like like the primary target these days, right? So like Is it for the older? Is this for the oldest crowd, the older crowd, or the young crowd? I'm not sure who is this for, right?
Yeah.
So sorry to say this, but this remake just felt pointless, right? Now, unless you had something new that is going to bring to the table. I'm not just talking about visuals, right? But just something different, something to justify its own existence, right? Then I would have given this a pass, right? But I'm sorry, it just played this thing too safe. It was trying to harken back to this old era where, it was about teaching children lessons, about staying in school and all that kind of stuff. Not saying that those are bad, but these are new times, Dred, and people don't think like that these days. Not everything is all black and white, right? So, right, okay, I get that you want to harken back to an era. Again, Disney 100, right? You want to go back to the glory days, right? I get that. But it's 2022, y'all. It's either you're bringing something new to the table or you just leave the classics right where they are. It's not like they have a bunch of dust and cobwebs in it. They're still classics. They're still going to be sold on Blu-ray when they come out in 4K, whatever it is. People will still buy them shits, right? But to say, all right, I want to remake this thing here and I want to have cutting-edge technology that looks so fake and cheap you swear you was watching a TV movie by Disney standards,
Yeah.
Are we just telling you the same story all over again? We're not really doing anything, really. We're just going to drop ever so often some dumb references, like case in point. You have one of the characters not going to say to make a reference to, Pinocchio is made out of pine, so we're going to call you Chris Pine. And that's a joke.
Yeah.
That's a joke, really.
Oof. Yeah.
Oof. Come on, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, this just felt pointless. This felt cheap. This cheaper. I'm saying this for a Disney product. Cheaper. And it really shows why this came out on streaming, boy. Because if this movie came out theatrically, boy, and God forbid if they had slapped a 3D on this, boy.
Yep.
Whew.
It would have get a low score. Because that's why I give it a 3, because it's like, all right, at least it's just on theaters, whatever. No. It's just
it's just on streaming, right? So
exactly.
you saving yourself money. Well, I guess by not by watching this in your house, but trust me, you might as well just watch the older film and just take that for what it is, right? But this just did nothing, man. This is coming from somebody who haven't even seen the original one, right? So rating wise, I had to give this a 2 out of 5. But I want back my money. Yes, I did not spend any money in it, but I want my money back. I want my time back. Yeah. I am even more excited, Dre, for the Del Toro version. I know that is going to do way more with the subject material than this, right? And in closing, right, it's so funny, right, that we Netflix doing this, right? You remember around, I think it's like about a year or two afterwards when Jungle Book came out, right? Remember Andy Serkis did his Mowgli film and it was on Netflix. It was trash.
Right.
Yeah. So I feel it will be the reverse of this now, where this movie here is trash now, but the Del Toro one is going to be infinitely better than this shit. At least there will be a purpose, there will be a reason for it to exist, man. But this one is like, no, the original one is great. So why you making this shit for, Dred? So stop it, Disney. Well, okay, well I can't say stop it because we get in the Little Mermaid. So hey, at least fingers crossed. At least you do something more with that than casting people and whatnot, right? But yeah, Pinocchio is a misfire, so who knows? This definitely will be my worst stuff for this year, but who knows? Maybe the Del Toro version will be my best stuff, so that'll be funny, right? So we'll see.